Okay, today is May 30th, and I'm going to do take the strut off of this 2000 Nissan Pathfinder LE four-wheel drive and replace a strut bearing. Alright, first thing you want to do is you want to jack it up and you want to take the tire off. We're going to do the right side today. Alright, let's get that done. Okay, go ahead and get the hubcap pulled off the center, and you're going to have 6 lug nuts, and each lug nut is a 21 millimeter. Remember, this is Japanese, so you're going to be dealing with millimeters. So it's a 21 millimeter lug wrench, and I like to use a breaker bar, and I'll demonstrate that. What you want to do is go ahead and loosen before you jack this front end up. Go ahead and loosen. Make sure your emergency brake's set so your vehicle doesn't roll on you when you go to jack it. This is the best way that I like to do it with. Yeah, you can use whatever you got handy. Alright, making sure they're all loose. I'm going to use a 4 jack. And they're all loose. Okay. So now we're going to jack this vehicle up. Get you a little room there. And we're going to take the tire off. Now that's pretty self-explanatory, so I'm going to speed this up a little bit. Okay, let's go ahead and we want to make sure we get this brake line loose of the bracket. It's just a little clip, and then you can go ahead and move your line because you're going to be taking this part of the strut off. And on your drag link here for your sway bar, you're going to have to put an Allen wrench in there to stabilize that, to keep it from turning. And then you'll use a wrench to take this bolt off here, and that'll slide out. Then you'll take these 2 bottom mounting bolts off, and there's 3 mounting bolts on the other side of the hood, but it actually goes through the shock mount well right there. So I'll show you a little bit from the top once we get to that position. This line right here that I'm taking off, it's just a rubber grommet. Take that off. That's your speed sensor for your analog brakes. Again, you just want to take everything loose from this whole mount here so we can get to this. Alright. Okay, as you can see, I've got a 6 millimeter Allen wrench for that inside that drag link, and that keeps that drag link bolt from spinning. And then I got a 17-inch box end millimeter wrench. 17 millimeter, not a 17 inch. 17 millimeter box inch wrench that's on the actual nut, and I'll just go demonstrate a little bit what you have to do here. Is you have to go ahead, and this nut has got to come all the way off. And once you get that off, let's go ahead and get this off here. Get stuck. There we go. And go ahead, and you have a pneumatic wrench. I think at this point you can go ahead and use that. Again, you want to use a 17 millimeter size there on that. And this is going to, again, this is going to take care of your sway bar drag link mounting on the strut. Now this procedure is the same if you were just replacing the strut. You know, we're going to show you, hopefully. Now I'm going to have to hold that again. That's the one to turn when it gets right down here at the end. Imagine that. Alright, well, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and get this off as fast as I can, I hope. And then I'll that drag link is it rotates in there, so you gotta keep it. It's a little difficult when it gets right down here on the end, but you gotta remember when you put this back together, just really get this thing tight. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and stop you. Okay, now that we've got our little tie rod, or tie-in rod from our stinking sway bar disconnected, then now we're going to go ahead and take these two bottom mounting bolts off here. The head of the bolt is going to be a 17 millimeter, and the nut is going to be a 22 millimeter. And you want to realize that the head is towards the rear and the nut's towards the front, so you make sure you get it back in that acclimate it that way when you put it back together. Okay, so anyway, you get those two bolts disconnected and take the bolts out, and then all you have is the 3 bolts located on the shock tower underneath the hood, and pretty much you're going to be done with the removal process. Alright. Okay, I forgot to mention that there is one clamp. I believe it's going to be a 13 millimeter that holds the brake line on. I'm sorry, not the brake line, but your speed control sensor line. It just routes it around there. It's right below where the brake line clip would go, and I'll point it out here. Alright, you want to make sure you get that removed. Just unscrew it and set it to the side, and then this thing will be free except for the top 3 bolts. Okay, with the top 3 mounting bolts and the shock tower disconnected, now all you have to do is push down on your spindle, and that'll break free that bottom mount, and you got to twist the shock strut itself in order to get it to clear, and then pull it out. All right. There we go. Voila. Alright, so we got it out now, and there it is.